Hello and welcome to the Joe Ligato Show. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Ligato, and today we're going to be talking about how we in the West live in an oligarchy instead of a democracy, because what you want doesn't matter for what actually ends up happening. And so we see here, to start off with, new poll, an overwhelming majority support raising taxes on the wealthy and corporations, 79% do. This includes nearly 2/3 of Americans who said they voted for Donald Trump in 2020, along with 85% who said they are unfavorable to both Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Okay, so huge numbers support getting charging more money to the wealthy and to corporations, yet we don't have those types of policies actually being implemented. So let's see what else this person has to say. By income level, 79% of those making less than $50,000 per year support raising taxes on the wealthy and corporations. 72% of those living in households earning more than $100,000 per year also agree. So shocking numbers there, that both the wealthy and the poor people want higher taxes on the wealthy and on corporations. And yet, the extremely wealthy, the oligarchs who control Western society, are not allowing that to happen. Okay? And so remember, in the West, your vote does not matter. Whether the overwhelming majority want it or not, it's not going to happen. So let's see what else we have here. A post by Arnaud Bertrand saying, stunning illustration of the extreme disconnect between Australian policymakers and the people they're supposed to democratically represent. So we talked about America in the last post, and now we're talking about Australia. This is occurring all across Western civilization. Only 1 in 5, so 20%, of Australians agree that Australia should continue its current foreign policy, being primarily an ally of the United States. Okay, so given the current situation, Australia is putting itself in harm's way to fight against China for the benefit of the United States, and only 1 in 5 Australians agree with that. So that should tell you something about the state of Australian democracy. It's not a democracy, it's an oligarchy led by the same Zionists who dictate policy in the United States, in the entire Western world. In opposition, 2/5, so 38%, agree with former Prime Minister Paul Keating's position that Australia must find security in and not from Asia, that Australia should be an independent middle power with influence in the Asia-Pacific region. And lastly, 1/4, 25%, said Australia should do its best to not engage in world affairs. So they want an isolationist policy. And so in terms of the options available to it, the current policy of Australia is the least popular option. Okay? They have other options that they could be going with that would be more popular, but because they are controlled, their policies are controlled by the oligarchy, they cannot go with those other policies. They have to go with the policies that most benefit the Zionist oligarchs in charge of Australia. So it goes on to say, you could run the same sort of survey in most Western liberal democracies, and you'd undoubtedly discover extremely similar results. The people fundamentally reject their country's approach to foreign policy. They massively abhor imperialism. So we see here clearly that Western democracies, despite how much they want to lecture the rest of the world, they are not actually doing what the people want. They're not actually representative of what the people want. So which obviously raises more questions about the nature of democracy in these countries. They more and more look like democracies in name only, and maybe with some democratic procedural veneer like voting, although rarely offering any actual choice, but making a mockery of the very spirit of it. So the spirit of democracy is you are participating in the choosing of leaders who are going to benefit future generations. That's the spirit of a democracy. In reality, you get to vote, and your vote doesn't matter aside from making you morally culpable for what the people in charge are doing. And so you get truly no say over what happens in a Western democracy. And let's see, Japan, unfortunately, is a part of the West now. It's completely a puppet state of the United States. And this is another country that they do not care about their own populace anymore. If they did, they would focus on policies that actually lead to future generations being larger than past generations, or at least the same size, and maintain their population. But we see Japan just does not care. Okay, the people in charge of the West, whether that's the United States, whether that's Australia, whether that's Japan, this Western civilization and its vassal states, they do not care about their native populations. They care about doing what the oligarchies of their countries say. Let's see what else we have here. Tucker Carlson was notified by his legal counsel that the United States could arrest him on sanctions violations for interviewing Russian President Vladimir Putin. So this free speech in the West, the freedom that we supposedly have, it's not actually there. There's no true freedom in the Western world. In reality, what's happening is you are given this Overton window. You're given the acceptable opinions that you're allowed to have, and you're allowed to choose between those opinions. But in reality, whatever options you're given are options that were vetted by the oligarchs that control the Western world. And they say, you're allowed to have these opinions, and you're not allowed to even hear other opinions. And so here we have Tucker Carlson trying to make available other opinions. So offering free speech in the West, free open ideas, a marketplace of ideas in the West. He's offering this, and the West is saying, oh no, you're not allowed. This is outside of the Overton window. You're not allowed to talk about these topics in Western civilization. And so do you need any more proof aside from what I just showed you that Western democratic governments are not representative of the people, and they are working actively against the people for the Zionist oligarchs in charge of the West? Thank you so much for investing your time in watching this video. If you found the content informative, be sure to show your support by giving us an upvote. Your engagement goes a long way in boosting our visibility within the algorithm. To stay ahead on the most pressing contemporary issues, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're committed to delivering up-to-date, thought-provoking content on a daily basis, and we want you to be a part of this journey. Also, your thoughts matter to us, so please share any comments, questions, concerns, and/or critiques in the comment section below. I personally read each one and I respond when necessary. Given the nature of our content, where we expose the actions of the oligarchs who exploit the masses, intentional suppression in the algorithm is an unfortunate reality. If you believe in our mission, you can help by spreading the word. Tell your friends about our content. Let's amplify the voices of those that challenge the status quo. Speaking of amplifying voices, I need your help. As many of you know, I gave up a lucrative career in the fastest growing field and the highest paying subfield of psychology in the United States to move to the Philippines to provide content that I think is important for my viewers to hear. I left so I could avoid repercussions for speaking about topics that are taboo in the United States. This decision came with significant financial sacrifices, but your support can help sustain the work we do. Check out the links in the description for how to support our channel. Every contribution, big or small, is genuinely appreciated. Finally, as a channel, we stand with the people of Palestine. We believe in their freedom, and by supporting us, you can contribute to this shared vision. Thank you for being a part of our community. Your viewership is invaluable, and I genuinely hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.